Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining this edition of BioHubX's Expert Corner. My name is Elisa Park Kim, and I'm the Executive Director of BioHubX. We are a not-for-profit supporting growth stage and scaling life sciences and health tech companies. We partner with industry and government to create programming and access to technical infrastructure. Our tenant members have seen a 100% success rate in achieving regulatory approval, and they have made very good progress in reaching their target markets. On the topic of government support, BioHubX has been able to launch thanks to support from Hurry's Can and their commitment to the life sciences in Alberta. With our initial funding, we were able to start our first hub. And over the 3 years of funding, we were able to surpass all the metrics we had promised, including 11 new products in the market by our member tenants, 33 HQP jobs, and 27 partnerships with regional and international organizations. We are eager to help grow the life sciences sector in Alberta and in Canada. And one way we do this is by organizing Expert Corner virtual events. So this is a series that launched to provide startups and growth stage companies with practical insights into areas of expertise that will help them advance in their journey towards commercialization. Today's topic is how does the government help startups and growth stage companies? Many young companies are aware that there are government resources, but don't know how to navigate these opportunities. Our goal today is to create some clarity about the supports that are available so that startups and scale-ups can take advantage of them. And in an environment where investment opportunities are not as plentiful, these government services can be leveraged to create traction for these companies. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples. We recognize the longstanding presence and history of these communities in our city and across Canada. Before we get started, I'd like to advise that this session is being recorded and will be made public on our website. For some of the departments presented today, their programs are updated frequently, so the most updated information will be found on their websites. Please keep this in mind when referencing archive recordings of this session. I would like to thank Caroline Lefebvre of CIPO for her instrumental role in working with us to put this session together, as well as Morgan Agel, who put together all of the marketing materials. Today's panel represents multiple touch points in a startup's journey, so there are practical insights for those who have yet to incorporate, to those who are strategizing IP, and all the way to those who are looking to expand beyond Canada. I would like to welcome each panelist and thank you in advance for your contribution. I will call on each panelist to provide us with a brief introduction of your organization and how you support SMEs. Then I will pose a few questions before we go into open Q&A. For any questions that you may have as participants, please include them in our chat. Ideally, we would go from departments that support early stage companies to latter stage companies, but one of our speakers will need to catch a flight. So we will let her go first and I will follow with a question. So with that, I'd like to ask Daisy Trong from Procurement Assistant Canada to describe what you do and how your organization helps SMEs.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Lisa, for the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining me today. And also thank you for letting me go first to catch my flight. My name is Daisy Trong, and I am an outreach specialist with Procurement Assistance Canada. I am part of the PAC Western region. We are a small team of 12 that services Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. I personally have been with Public Services and Procurement Canada for 8 years now, where I was a former procurement officer, where I did a lot of purchasing for various departments such as Parks Canada, Agriculture, Agri-Foods, Department of National Defense, and RCMP. Next slide, please. So when it comes to contracting with the federal government, Public Services and Procurement Canada, PSPC, they are the main procurement arm of the federal government. From 2023 to 2024, the federal government spent about $67 billion that year. And of that $67 billion, $55 billion of that was managed by PSPC. We believe that it is important that all procurement activities are conducted in an open, fair, and transparent manner, and that all suppliers have equal chance at doing business with us. We do have federal laws, regulations, Treasury Board of Canada policies that help guide our Government of Canada's procurement process. Next slide, please. So you might be wondering, where does Procurement Assistance Canada come in? So we were actually created as part of PSPC to help support smaller and diverse businesses in the federal procurement process. So our role is to engage with businesses to assist and inform on how they can sell their goods and services to the federal government, to work to reduce barriers in effort to ensure fairness and inclusion in the process. We're able to help you at all stages of your procurement journey. So whether you're just starting off or if you've attempted trying to do business with the federal government in the past, and you might have just decided to take an alternative option, or you could be currently actively selling to the federal government and you might be running into any challenges. We want to hear from you and learn what some of the challenges are, and this way we can work with policymakers to hopefully help reduce barriers to ensure fairness and inclusion in the federal procurement process. We're always looking for opportunities to increase participation of diverse businesses in federal procurement. We're always trying to engage with diverse communities, listen to concerns, answer any questions that you might have, and help businesses understand the overall federal procurement. And even when policy changes are being made, help businesses navigate that, because we know that it can be confusing at times, and hopefully we can help reduce the ease of that for you. And we're always partnering with community organizations, such like BioHub, to help meet specific business needs. PAC is located in 6 different regions, so it doesn't mean you're only limited to the region you reside in. You can reach out to any of our regional partners and we can all support you and help you. Next slide, please. And then, yeah, last but not least, here's a list of some of the services that we offer. So we're always hosting seminars and webinars. We have an event calendar where we have sessions that are always listed on there. If you miss one, that's okay. Chances are there will be a repeat of that same webinar. All our regions are always delivering in them, so that's way we can capture the different time zones of all of Canada. My favorite support that we offer with PAC is our one-on-one meetings. This is where a procurement outreach specialist can meet with you, learn about your business, and then hopefully be able to provide you with tools and resources that are in line of the needs of what you're looking for. We also operate a 1-800-info line that you can find on our website, where if you want a quick answer, you can easily call into them. Usually the wait time is short. Yeah. And then last but not least, we're always trying to develop self-service tools on our website, where we do create a lot of step-to-step guides, so you can try navigating it on yourself, whether you're trying to register for an account or you're having issues bidding on a requirement. We have guides that with pictures to show you how to do that. So yeah, if there's anything to take away from this 5 minutes, please visit Canada Buys, where you can find all this information. Information about PAC is on there too. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daisy. 55 billion is a huge budget. Can you let us know if there is a listing of opportunities that SMEs can look at, or do they go through these for the seminars, one-on-one meetings, and the 1-800 number? What is the best way to engage?
Sorry, to engage with PAC directly or
To
for
to understand,
opportunities?
yes, to understand what opportunities are being listed.
That is a great question. So, as mentioned earlier, if you're looking for federal procurement opportunities, I encourage everybody to visit canadabuys.ca. There you will be able to find open opportunities. It's not limited to just federal procurement that you'll see on there. Sometimes you will see that there are procurement opportunities with the provincial, municipal, academia, schools, hospital, even some NATO opportunities. The reason for that is because certain trade agreements might be applicable to their procurements, which is why you'll find it on our site. However, overall, Canada Buys is where it's the official source for federal procurements. And then also on there, there's support channels. There's lots of registration information. So everything, it's a one-stop shop.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daisy. Next, we'll go with Corporation Canada, and Nima Samatar will be speaking about the opportunities with this department.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Nima Samatar, and I'm speaking on behalf of Corporations Canada as an examiner. Um, so, sorry. I'll start with a quick overview of who we are. So Corporations Canada is part of Innovation, Science, and Economy Development Canada. Essentially, we help Canadians incorporate businesses, not-for-profits, cooperatives, and more. Our goal is to ensure that you can do this easily and effectively and within the framework of the Canadian law. We regulate with the business corporations, the not-for-profit corporation organization, cooperative, and the Board of Trade. Our goal is to support a healthy and fair business environmental in Canada, while making our services as clear and accessible to everyone. Now that you have a sense of who we are and what we do, let's take a look at why some business chooses federal incorporation. So it really comes down to simplicity and flexibility. One of the main benefits is your business name. Federal name is protected across Canada, which means you can operate under one single name in all the provinces and territories. There's also a cost consideration. You can incorporate online for a flat fee of $200. It helps if you plan to operate in more than one province. So let's say if you choose a number name such as 123 Canada Inc., it's not required for an examiner to review the name. It will be accepted automatically by our system. However, if you choose a word name, it will be reviewed by an examiner to ensure that all the requirements are met. Federal corporations are also offers like flexibility. You can register office anywhere in Canada, and meetings can be held digitally, even if one of your directors or shareholders are in different location. So you can have a director in Quebec and another director in the province of Manitoba. Federal corporations are also recognized internationally, which can help. It can be helpful if your expansion outside of Canada is part of your goal plan. There's just one ongoing requirement to keep in mind, which is a yearly annual return, and the fees are $12. This is not a tax return. It's simply just a confirmation that your information is up to date and active. Next slide. So at the center of everything is our online filling center. This is where you can incorporate file changes and submit your annual return all in one place. To help you along the way, we also offer our guides and forms on our website with clear step-by-step instruction to help you through each process. You can also sign up for subscription services, which can send reminders, important filings, and notify you of changes to your corporation status. And finally, built into we also have a system with a security layer, including identity verification to help protect your information. And if you ever need additional help, we're always there to assist you guys. And as for the last slide, we have, if you could always contact us if you have any questions or any concerns. We'll be more than happy to assist you guys.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nima. With that, we're going to move on to Canadian Intellectual Property Office with Caroline Lefebvre.
I'll start all over again. So my name is Carolyn, and I'm based in Ottawa, Gatineau, and as an IP advisor for CIPO, I cover Atlantic and the Prairies. You may wonder why IP? Well, because IP is fundamental for a business. You need to protect what you develop that's unique and different. I'll go very quickly, but it could be a trademark, which is your branding, a logo, a name. Could be a patent, an invention, a functionality, copyright, original content, a website, source code, business plan, training material, etc. Industrial design, the visual, the aesthetic aspect of your object, the product. Plant Breeders Act, not protected at CIPO, but at Agriculture Canada. It's anything related to plants, vegetable, fruits. Trade secret, valuable information that you need to retain confidential for the duration or for a certain period of time. Keep in mind also that from things that I hear from clients is that following my colleague from Corporations Canada, Nima, keep in mind that an incorporation is not a trademark protection, which is a misconception. Most of federal, provincial, even regional funding program will ask you for an IP strategy to say what you need to protect, what's out there. Do you have the exclusivity? Do you have the right to use? In terms of Procurement Canada, they will make sure before you become provider to the federal government that you own the IP that you're offering, if there's any. And especially foreign markets, very important, you need to protect whatever you're selling, offering on foreign markets. So what we do at CIPO is where we grant IP in Canada. My role with my colleague IP advisors is we provide tailored information free of charge, relevant, neutral. We don't provide advice, so I will not draft applications for you. I will not confirm that this invention is patent subject matter. I will not confirm that this trademark is registrable. I'll provide you the sources. I'll help you to understand the strategic value of IP, preparing to obtain, understanding why you need to have an IP strategy to get funding, working hand in hand with colleagues from other departments and other organizations. We linked with regional networks, obviously. We talk to inventors, artists, creators, SMEs, startups, scale-ups, stakeholders from the government, economic development agencies, incubators and accelerator, academia. We work with pretty much everyone that has a question on IP. And I will not recommend an IP professional. I'll provide you the source, how you find them. And last but not least, this is the QR code to link to the form to reach an IP advisor across Canada. And IP Central is a super new tool that we launched last week. And it gives you access to a plethora of information. As an individual, you pretty much will give you your IP journey, referring you to events, business-related, innovation-related, partners, etc. So IP Central is now the go-to place when it comes to IP in Canada. Thank you, Elisa.
Thank you. And extending our conversation on intellectual property, we have Cameron Smitters from Elevate IP.
Actually, can we do John first? Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
We have John Jerem from ISED, who is joining us from Edmonton.
Thank you. Yes, I'm from Edmonton, but I have two colleagues in Calgary that do the same services I do. So if you're in Calgary, just let me know and I can connect you to a senior innovation advisor there. So I'll keep this really quick because I know we have a lot of presentations. But basically, Innovation Canada, our branch works with innovative companies to accelerate their growth. And we have two basic streams. One is the services and the other one is funding. So in services, I'm part of a member of Accelerated Growth Service. Business Benefits Finder is excellent for startups. If you go to the site, you can just Google Business Benefits Finder. There will be a drop-down menu where you customize what your company does and what you're looking for, and it will generate a customized list of resources that you can follow up with. Next slide. Oh, yeah, we can start. Okay. All right. So Business Benefit Finder already sort of spoke about this. Saves businesses time. The okay, we'll just stay here. Where are we going? Okay. So Accelerated Growth Service was launched in June of 2016. It's a free advisory service for growth-oriented businesses. And we have programs in financing, exporting, R&D support, innovation, business advice, and more. But I also help you with connecting to Alberta government resources also. So it's not just a federal advisory service, it can be a provincial too. So it utilizes a whole of government approach, like I said, using provincial, municipal, nonprofit, and innovation ecosystem partners. So basically what you would look as for my job is I'm a concierge service for government support. So instead of innovators, looking at the 800 or 900 programs out there, you would just make an appointment with an innovation advisor, and we could very quickly point you to the right support system so you don't have to waste your time doing it yourself. Next slide. So you can see we have sort of a three-tier service offering. We have the Business Benefits Finder, which is a self-service product. We have our advisory service where you would just get a hold of us and we would book a 30-minute Teams meeting where we discuss what your challenges are and how we can support. And then we would send you a list of resources with links that you can take a look at, and we're here to support anytime. And for high growth services, we have the growth service. Next slide. So what can innovation advisors help with? It's not just funding, it's R&D partnering opportunities, access to technology and facilities for testing your product, insurance, financing, and bonding, connections to international markets, obviously grants and contributions, loans and investments, and patents, IP, and other resources. So when you look at what we do, we don't just look at here's X amount of money, but how can we have a holistic look at your needs and help you out with other areas of challenge. Next slide. So like I said, it's a one-on-one conversation between a business and an advisor, and we will personalize advice and recommendations, and also very important, warm introductions to relevant partners and organizations, and also relevant introductions to people in government, our colleagues that help us sort of provide these services to the public. Next slide. So we have an extensive partner network, you can see, with federal departments, crown corporations and agencies, and regional development agencies. So PrairiesCan would be the example here in Alberta. But we also work with about 50 other plus service providers, both external and internal within the Government of Canada. So that's a really quick summary, but I encourage you to get a hold of one of the advisors here in Alberta to have that quick 30-minute conversation, and we can help you navigate government support so your company can grow and scale. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. And next we have Elevate IP, and Cameron Smithers will be speaking about the service.
Hello. Yes, I'm the education manager for Elevate IP here in Alberta. I work with Innovate Calgary, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the University of Calgary, and it's also put on by Economic Development Lethbridge as one of our key partners. Can we go back a slide? I just want to highlight, I think it's a really good segue coming from both Carolyn, I believe that was John. ISED, who Carolyn's with, is our funder. So they provide us the funding, and you would have seen on John's slide when they were mentioning funding streams, Elevate IP's logo was on there. And so just before we go into highlighting elements of the program, what I do want to say is some of this information is specific to Alberta. There are different organizations that run Elevate IP across the country. And so, depending on who that is, that'll influence, who your point of contact to reach out is. And I'd also highlight that the program in and of itself is slightly different from, I'm going to call it area to area, because it's not necessarily by province. Just as an example, Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan are all overseen by Communitech, which is an Ontario-based organization. And another thing I'd like to highlight as I go into this is while we were just recently renewed for funding, what that looks like moving forward. We're not exactly 100% certain yet. So our funding has been effectively spent up until March 31st of this year, at which point after that, there'll be a launch of the second iteration of the program. And we do anticipate there to be some changes at some sort of functional level moving forward. So there'll probably be many questions, if there are questions, that I can't answer because there is no answer to it just yet. But we're working on that as we're developing the second iteration of the program. We can go to the next slide, please. So what we do believe will remain consistent is there are 3 pillars to our program. We're not entirely focused just on funding. We have an education awareness stream where we focus on educating entrepreneurs and the people who educate entrepreneurs about the value of intellectual property within the business, and then some preliminary steps to go on and protect that. And then what we've often been known for is our 2 funding streams of IP strategy funding and implementation funding to take those strategies and begin to execute them. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, so our education and awareness is really working with many organizations within the innovation ecosystem. For us in Alberta, it's with our Alberta partners to really highlight, what the awareness of intellectual property and why is it valuable. We've developed a lot of IP strategy training workshops and resources, some of which have been made available to business accelerators and incubators to support the coaches that support the entrepreneurs, but then also to entrepreneurs themselves. And that's really how we've been building that community to share some of the best practices. Now, this can be available for anyone. If you go onto our website, you can go onto our Thinkific education portal, and there will be resources out there to help you take some of those first steps on intellectual property and how it interplays with your business. We can go on to the next slide. We do anticipate that there's likely going to be more funding again for our strategy stream, but in our work across Alberta, we've built out this network of IP strategists and law firms that are located within Alberta that provide that type of work and support. We've gotten some education training materials now to really begin to empower you to take those steps on building out that IP strategy. We took CIPO's best practices and some input from business accelerators and IP experts and serial entrepreneurs, investors, to come up with a bit of a template or guidelines for what makes a strong IP strategy. And that's something that when we review the strategies that come in through our program, we use that as kind of like, what are the standards of things? And we've been evaluating really the strength of those. So if you do go to our website, you can now register for a wait list for announcements. I'll highlight this is only specific to Alberta-based entrepreneurs. If you're outside of Alberta, not headquartered here, not registered as a corporation, you will be, ultimately the information won't be relevant to you, but you may end up getting us eventually guiding you towards whatever relevant organization that is. In the previous, I guess the current iteration of the program, who knows what 2.0 looks like, we had been providing funding to develop those IP strategies with an IP expert, and the funding was up to $15,000. The average was lower than that. Probably, I think it was closer to $11,000 in support, and it was funded at 100% with the exception of the tax associated with that cost. Next slide, please. We have a IP implementation stream. This is unique towards other compared to other programs because it's pretty flexible use of funds, which include filing costs. It is a very competitive program. It has been, and we anticipate it'll likely remain that way as well, just given it's incredibly popular. And so it's effectively mostly for highly scalable companies that have very strong IP strategies that show clear need for those implementation protections. And there is a co-investment required. And so we don't know what that's going to look like in the second iteration of the program, but you have to have an IP strategy before you come into the implementation stream, at least in the current iteration of the program. Next slide, please. With that, you can use this QR code to get to our website. If you click anywhere on Learn Now, it'll bring you to that wait list to register. It just basically provides us with the contact information. As we learn more, we will be reaching out. This, once again, is mostly for Alberta-based entrepreneurs. And you can also find on our website access to those educational resources through our Thinkific platform. And those resources are available for free, and we plan to keep it that way. With that, that's everything I've got to say.
Thank you, Cameron. We have 4 more departments that are going to be sharing. If we can stay within the 3-minute time frame, that would be fantastic, so that we have time for some questions at the end. With that, we have Brian Neal from Revenue Canada.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time. I appreciate being able to give you a little information about the SR&ED program. Next slide, please. So this is a standard disclaimer. It more or less says that everything we talk about is going to be accurate today, but with budget 2025 and April 1st, there will be some changes coming to the SR&ED program, mostly on the financial side. So just keep that in mind. Canada.ca/taxes-SRED is our website. So a little bit about the program. It is the largest program supporting R&D anywhere in Canada. It's actually larger than most of the rest all put together. We put $4.5 billion through this program every year to about 18,000 different businesses through 20,000 different claims every year. Next slide, please. To be eligible for this, there are 2 requirements, which are laid out in policy, and I won't get into all that, but basically the work that you're doing and going to claim has to be conducted for the advancement of scientific knowledge or for the purpose of achieving technological advancement. So more or less, you have to be doing stuff to push technology forward. It's what you do to technology, not what you do with technology, that's going to count. And the how part is work has to be done in the systematic investigation or search carried out in a field of science or technology by means of experiment or analysis. So essentially we're saying use the engineering method, the scientific method, that idea where you're going to start off with a problem statement, you're going to develop an idea, a potential solution, hypothesis, you're going to work some way to try and see if that's true or not. And based on the results, you're going to feed it back into your initial thoughts and try again. And you're going to document it along the way. Okay, so if you're doing that, you might actually qualify. Next slide, please. So I will say that this is our website. There are a lot of self-service tools that we've introduced recently. The self-assessment learning tool is a great place to spend 15 to 30 minutes. You answer 7 questions and put in some basic financial information. It'll actually give you an estimate of the tax credits you could be eligible for. One key thing I have to point out is Alberta has an equivalent provincial program, but it administers it by itself. Uses the same criteria, but they look after it. So we can't actually give you the estimate of the provincial portion in Alberta, but we do direct you to where you can find information on what the provincial amount is. The 1-800 number that's on the screen is for the Western region, general inquiries line. If you have questions, you want to ask us something, by all means, give that a call. Generally, people will give you a call back pretty quick. And any of the people listed on the very bottom line, Samit Wasson, myself, Veronica, and Martin, are all across Canada. We are outreach advisors and people that enjoy talking to folks. So if you hit any one of those email addresses, somebody will contact you back and start pointing you in the right direction. And I think I'm about 2 minutes and 40 seconds in, so I'll just say thank you very much, and I'll stick around to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Next, we have Jivan Yagam from Global Affairs.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Elisa. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Jeevan Nalinaigam, and I'm a Trade Commissioner with Global Affairs Canada. It is a pleasure to be here today to connect with you all and provide you an overview of my team and the work that we do. Global Affairs Canada is one of the main interfaces that the Canadian federal government has within the global community. And we do this in a variety of ways: diplomatic engagement, consular services, development, and trade, which is the team that I form part of. The Trade Commissioner Service has been in existence for over 130 years. We've worked with Canadian SMEs throughout a very long tenure in helping them grow internationally. And from our very first trade commissioner based in Australia, we've expanded to over 160 markets globally, representing a network that provides you with critical intelligence as well as connections as you plan your next steps within a global and international context. The slide that you're seeing before you it effectively provides you with a high-level overview of our main pillars of approach. And I'll go through them one at a time, but I also welcome the opportunity to discuss them further with you if there are any questions. First and foremost, advice, and that begins very much with our engagement with SMEs, learning about your solution or your product, but more importantly, having an understanding of your business, where you are domestically and where you seek to go internationally. Do you have any past experience with that market, or what is it that is drawing you to that market? I could also then phrase that same line of questioning in a sense of what is it that your solution brings to that market, having an understanding of competitors and how market entry ultimately would fall into place. In terms of funding, we have a variety of funding programs. I'm going to go over the CanX and CIIP programs. I'd like to preface that as has been mentioned by several of my co-presenters, the information that I'm providing you today is accurate as of this presentation. I will give you the address to our main webpage to remain updated on any changes that may be presented against our key initiatives. But with CanX, the 2 sub-programs that I'd like to draw your attention to are the SME and the innovation. Both are designed to help you grow internationally, but in 2 slightly different ways. The SME program is geared more towards commercialized entities that have revenue and that are looking to build upon that traction in new global markets. Innovation looks more towards SMEs or pardon me, innovators who have a solution and are looking to expand based on a collaborative venture in a new market. And so those are slight differences, but ultimately 2 programs that are in place to help SMEs expand within a global context. CIIP achieves the same thing in a sense. They are project focused, and so they provide both partnership development funding as well as co-innovation funding for companies that are looking to expand within a new international context. And then finally, I'd want to focus on what we refer to as our business supports. There are two in this column that I want to draw your attention to for the sake of expediency, and that is the Canadian Technology Accelerators. We currently have a call for application open. These are innovative accelerators held globally in 12 specific hubs in 3 regions. And they focus exclusively on 3 sectors, and in this case, life sciences being one of them. The current CTA that is open is for our Boston cohort, and it will be accepting applications up until the end of February. So I believe February 27th is the deadline. Ultimately, the programming is done via a hybrid format. So the programming itself will run from April till November. The majority of that will be online. You're looking at about a 2 to 4 hour commitment per week, with the final week being in market. You'll have the opportunity to connect with mentors and experts in your field in the market of choice and gain valuable insights as you look to scale up specifically within one of these hubs. The next represents what we call our Team Canada trade missions, which are flagship events. They are often led by a very high-level delegation. In this case, it will be by the minister himself. And the next Team Canada trade mission that we have coming up specific to life sciences will be for the Republic of Korea. The intake process is currently open. The TCTM, as we refer to them, will be between March the 30th and April 2nd. There are 2 deadlines coming up, the first being February the 6th for folks who wish to take part in the B2B component of this program, and then the second being Feb 13th, which is the hard deadline for submissions. So if I could have the next slide, please. As I had mentioned before, the primary resource that I'd like to direct you to, for the sake of accuracy, would be our webpage, tradecommissioner.gc.ca, but several of the programs that I've spoken to are featured in greater detail through that resource. I also invite you to sign up for a MyTCS account. That will give you direct information from the department if there are programs opening or if there are any announcements that speak to identified areas of choice that you can curate as you develop your own account. Furthermore, you'll see that there are 6 emails listed. The work that we do as trade commissioners are governed both in terms of sector and geography within Canada. I am privileged to represent the life sciences sector in Alberta and the Northwest Territories. I have colleagues who provide similar levels of service for other verticals across Canada. So if you are in one of our regions and you wish to connect with us, I welcome you to engage with us through one of those email addresses. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present on behalf of the TCS, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you.
Thank you, Jivan. Next, we have Andre from the Competition Bureau of Canada.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Andre, and I'll talk a little bit to the Competition Bureau. So pretty much as you see it on the slide, the first slide, there's a couple of important points, takeaways, especially for SMEs. So what is the Competition Bureau, right? We're a federal law enforcement agency with a public mandate ensuring that there's fair competition, especially from the context of small businesses. We are not a price regulator, right? Instead, we look at if what so-called large companies, right, are doing anything that prevents effective, efficient, fair competition for smaller companies, right? We also don't get involved in disputes between entities themselves, right? And also we look out for competition in the broad sense of a world, not for focusing on one specific business and its success, right? So where does this matter for you, right? As a small business, one of the options you can be engaged by the Bureau is if you observe some anti-competitive conduct. And when I say that word, it could be as simple as a contract that prevents you from, reaching to certain customers. So someone is locking up your customers, or, you have difficulty accessing to, let's say, API. Well, the Bureau has an online form where you can make and submit a complaint. And your complaints can go to a variety of conduct, right? It could be misleading advertising. It can be something like, let's say, a potential merger between 2 companies, and you're concerned that this might affect your business. There's a variety of potential contexts that we look at, right? One thing we also don't do is we don't provide you with legal advice. Instead, as a law enforcement agency, we gather the facts. And if there's enough sufficient evidence and facts, we can bring a case to the competition tribunal. Now, the competition tribunal is a separate entity which decides on merits if there's a violation of the act or not, right? I think we can go to the next slide. So what are some of the areas, right, where you as small business can touch upon? Well, one is cartels and bid rigging, right? Those are criminal offenses in Canada. So if you're aware of that happening, you encounter that, you're always welcome to make a complaint. Another one is deceptive marketing, right, or misleading advertising, especially think about greenwashing, for example, right, where you're making statements about how environmentally friendly your product is. Last one I mentioned as well before, monopolistic practices, a large company preventing smaller competitors from emerging and effectively competing. And of course, mergers, let's say two large companies, right? So we're responsible for reviewing all of those. But like I mentioned before, we are not the ultimate decision makers. So you're welcome. We can probably go to the next slide. You're welcome to submit a complaint to us. You're also welcome to review the online compliance hub that we recently developed in the last couple of years on our website, which provides additional resources to small businesses from a perspective of compliance of the act, right? I think we can go to the next slide as well. And you can do that through email. You can also contact us by phone. There's a plethora of resources online. I'm happy to answer any questions, chat further.
Thank you, Andre. Last but not least, we've got Malik from the Ombudsman of the Procurement Office.
Excellent. Thanks, Eliza. And thank you again for the invitation. So my name is Malik Msilti, and I am the Communication Officer in the Office of the Procurement Ombud. So just to explain you, we are a neutral and independent organization of the Government of Canada that help resolve contract disputes between suppliers and federal government when issues arise. That being said, we are an impartial intermediary that address concerns and complaints from all parties. So we have three main elements that describe us. First, we are neutral. We don't have bias or favoritism in our work. Second, we are independent. Even if we are part of PSPC, the minister does not get involved in our mandate admission, so we are totally independent. Third, we have a government-wide mandate, except the security agency, staff of Senate, House of Commons, and the Crown Corporation. Our mandate applies to all federal departments and agencies. On the slide, please. Perfect. So that's the core of our mission and mandate, and that's how we can help you. First of all, we offer dispute resolution services. So it's a mediation. It's a free services that is an alternative to litigation. When you have a contract but encounter issues with term and condition during its administration phase, you can request our services. We will start first with an informal approach and try to de-escalate the situation. And if it doesn't work, we engage a formal mediation with the assistance of our certified mediator to reach out a formal binding agreement. And it's a free services, confidential, and also there is no dollar threshold for these services. So your contract can be $600 to $60 million. It will work. The second service is the review of complaints from suppliers. So let's say you apply for a contract and you didn't win the contract, but during the process you noticed some wrongdoings and your proposal was wrongly rejected. You can seek our services for complaints. It's need to meet certain criteria, such as being Canadian suppliers. Secondly, that contract must be valued in a specific threshold, which is $34,600 for goods and $139,000 for services. Also, that complaint must be filled in prescribed timelines, which is 30 working days after the public notice of the award of the contract. And also, that contract must has been awarded before to contact us. And that complaint must be linked to an organization that fall in our mandate. If you meet this criteria, there will be a report that will be prepared and also published. The name of the supplier will be confidential, but there will be the name of the organization, and the Ombud may recommend compensation up to 10% of the contract value in order to compensate the submission fees. And lastly, we also review departmental procurement practices. So it's an independent and objective examination of procurement practices to assess their fairness, openness, transparency, and also ensure their consistency with laws, policy, and guidelines. Next slide, please. Thank you. And that's how you can contact us. It's our emails, how to be aware of our work if you subscribe to our mailing list, and also our social media. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you, Malik, for your presentation. We have time for maybe one or two questions, and I can get this started. If you have a question, please load it on the chat, and we'll go through it. My question is for Corporations Canada. We do have a number of academics who have innovative ideas attending today. How do companies know if it is when it's the right time to incorporate? So this is a question for Nima.
Thank you, Alyssa, for that question. Anytime is a good time. There's no such thing as a perfect time to incorporate federally. You don't need to wait for like a specific certain time or a revenue level or season or even milestone. If you're ready to make your business official, that's considered like a good time to create your incorporation. People usually like choose a federal incorporation when they want like naming a protection across Canada or flexibility to operate in multiple provinces or even a structure that it's like recognized nationally and internationally. So yeah, bottom line, it makes sense for your business now. If it makes sense for your business now, you can operate now. And you also have the option to, let's say you want to start your business and have a future effective date, you can also request a future effective date.
I see. Do you not require certain documentations in a certain corporate structure in order to be able to incorporate, or are there changes that can be made very easily as the company progresses?
Sorry, do you mind repeating that question?
So let's say universal shareholders agreement.
Yes.
Documents such as these may be required for incorporation, or is that a premature setup?
Yes, it's as for the shareholder, there's no requirement that we need a Corporations Canada. The only requirements that we need are for like directors. 25% of the directors have to be a resident Canadian. So let's say you have like 4 directors. One of the directors would have to be like a resident Canadian.
Fantastic. Okay, a question for Global Affairs, Jivan. How advanced does a company need to be to take advantage of some of these trade missions? Do they need to demonstrate traction?
It's an interesting question, particularly for the life sciences sector. I touched on this briefly in terms of the overview of the programs, and I can elaborate further now. Life sciences is unique in the sense that global growth can be reflected both in terms of increased traction or through collaborative ventures. And there are opportunities for both in terms of direct sales or growing your capacity in a pure economic sense, or are you going to be able to partner with an entity in that foreign market that can help advance your solution, your science, or your technology? And so we welcome the discussion to explore both fronts, not to act as a caveat in any sense, but really ultimately it's to see whether or not those opportunities are presented within the market that we'll be exploring. And that's where the true value of some of these larger events like Trade Team Canada, trade missions fall into place, because you're looking at a comprehensive B2B networking market program that is curated with our support as a department that provides you as an SME or as an innovator who's looking to explore what are some of those possible supports in that potential market and how can you best translate the work that you've done to see growth, again, both in terms of economic growth as well as the advancement of your science or technology. So that is a very, I would say, verbose way of saying we welcome that discussion. Present your company to us, engage with us, and give us the opportunity to better understand what you're doing, and we can then help guide you to see if there are opportunities in those new markets.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jivan. A question for Andre and Malik. When clients approach you, do they typically have legal representation?
Maybe I can go first. For us, well, I guess they won't really be clients, but individuals, Canadians, or businesses, right, that bring complaints in that context. And you don't have to have a counsel to make a complaint to a bureau. Form is online. It does help sometimes. And again, I cannot provide you with legal advice, right? But there are certain requirements which need to be satisfied to meet the test of being anti-competitive conduct, right? So if you have a chance to consult with a lawyer, they probably can tell you if it has a stronger case or not, right? They can help you put together a package which might have more details, more information, right? So in certain situations, it might be helpful. You're not required to, and I cannot really provide you legal advice, but it's up to you to decide ultimately. Keep in mind, it also might be costly to have external counsel help you, right? So there's a number of factors you have to take into consideration.
Thank you, Andre.
Excellent. Can you please repeat the question, Elisa? Excuse me.
Do you, so when approaching or seeking your services, do companies need legal representation or an attorney, a lawyer?
That's a good question. It's on us, but on our side, it's not an obligation. That being said, our objective is to provide them assistance by directing suppliers to the appropriate resources if the request is outside our mandate. That being said, if the issues is mandate related, we will clarify the situation with them and identify possible options such as mediation and filing complaints. And from there, they can see if yes or not they would like to have help from a specific lawyer. That being said, in the mediation process, it's free. Like it is managed by our certified mediator, and in this process, they can seek help from their lawyer to attend at this meeting in order to have a support. That being said, it's depend on us. So
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Malik, for the clarification. Time has flown, and we're on the top of the hour now. So I'd like to thank each panelist for sharing practical and focused insights. This event, the Expert Corner, is organized to help young companies to find resources that will help them move their ideas forward. Please sign up to our free membership and newsletter. I encourage you to connect with our panel members if you have any questions. And we will be circulating a survey where you can suggest topics of interest to you for future planning. So we thank you so much for your time today and for your insights to the panelists. Carolyn, did you have any last comments?
Yes, thank you for organizing this webinar, Lisa and Morgan. It was a pleasure to coordinate with you. And for those on the line, I'll be sharing a presentation, although serious slides will not be included as per internal regulations, which is fine. You know how to reach out to them anyways. So you took good note, obviously. Brian, it seems to be freezing in your corner. I don't know where you are, but it seems you're super cold. I don't know why.
He's in San Francisco.
He's in San Francisco and he's freezing.
Yes.
Well,
I
thank
wish.
you, everyone. Thanks to my federal partners. It was wonderful to work with you again. And yeah, Brian, it seems like freezing.
Well, it
Thank
is
you.
cold, but not that cold.
Okay.
Thank you, Caroline, again. And thank you, everyone, for contributing today. Happy Friday, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.